everyone, my name is Lena Winkler. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the phrase partnership. And so first, let's look at what is partnership, right? So partnership, what is it actually? Partnership is a thing that you will face a lot when you are operating a business, especially business by yourself, right? And usually you will see this in the range when you are having a small or even a big business. No matter what is your operation case, no matter what is your limit, you always would have a thing that's called partnership. And so what is it exactly? So partnership is when a business owner, for example, you in this case, owns a business. There's a lot of reason for you to decide to have a partner as partnership, but usually it is when a business owner brings another person. Usually it's a trusted person or a person that has the assets in that business assets, and that partner is going to help them run the business. So they're almost like another CEO. But in this case, you are still primarily the CEO, but they are, in the case here, partnership, which means they are going to be giving you feedback, they're going to stop with you through the journey, they're going to grow with you. And so that is what partnership means. So now, here, let's talk about the benefits of having partner in the business operation. First is that you would get valuable contribution. What do I mean by this is when you have a partner, right? It's going to be somebody, for example, your family, like your brother, your sister, your cousin, your parents, or your uncle, your aunt. And so they are trusted people. But in a lot of cases, you don't just allow somebody to be a partner with you in that business just because you trust them. A lot of time, they are very smart person that could contribute to your company. And so when you have a partnership in a business, they are going to help you come up with valuable innovations. For example, your business is a small bakery business, and for the upcoming Lunar New Year, you do not know which sales marketing technique could you use, or which specific type of cake should you produce to encourage the sales and so that it fits the most with customers' preferences. And so that is when your partnership and your partner comes in. They have an idea about that, they could share about it with you. Okay, I think that selling that cake is better, and you sell it on that day is better. And so that is when a partnership comes with valuable contributions. Secondly, they share with you everything. They share with you the workload, they share with you the risk, they even share with you the losses, and that is when you feel a lot much more less pressure. Because as a CEO, as a business owner, you have a lot of things you do, right? I understand that you may have employees, but still they take the orders from you to use and turn that into actions. And so that is something that's very, very hard as a workload for only one person. Plus, the risk is very plausible. At any time, you could be in the verge of bankruptcy. And so that is when your partners come in and offer money, offer help for you to continue the business. Moving on, we have this better access to capital. This is where it is better because when a business is considered to have more partner and have more successful partnership, usually that business itself will grow better, and that is where it comes to better access to capital. And lastly is potential tax advantages, which you could get get through taxes, or the could be divided equally with your partner. And so that is a lot much more advantages. But here comes the drawbacks. So first, there is shared liability for litigation. Now first, what is litigation? What is liability? Litigation is when is a situation where it is something related to law, related to the responsibility you have in law, in court. So for example, your maybe a business is having a very big scandal because people think that, okay, that business is maybe not producing good products. And so that is when you might face litigation. And so in this case here, when you have a partner and they do something probably bad, even though you don't actually contribute into that badness, you still have to share the liability, which that means you still have to face the responsibility in front of court and in front of lawsuit. Secondly, is there is potential conflicts, because as I've said, no matter what, even if they're a trusted person in your family, even if they are a friend of yours, even if they are like a brother to you, you still have conflicts with them, right? Different people have different mindset, have different pathways, they have different ways to view things, and they have different success definition. And so that is very, very easy, and the potential to have conflicts is super, super high. And that is what you should and always should think about first, especially when you're working as a team with your partner. Moving on is that you have the loss, autonomy, and profit. Because when you are letting them to work with you, you need to let them have profit too, right? They do not just spend time and help you. They must get something reward, and that is the profit. And secondly is autonomy, which is the right and like the respect coming from the employees or coming from people from that business. So now here, how do we get away from this shared liability for litigation? This may be the biggest drawback because it could easily affect your business a lot. And so here is one key consideration that you could take, which is LLC, which is short for Limited Liability Corporation. So when you look at this word Limited Liability Corporation, you see it basically sets its meaning, right? LLC means to protect owner from being liable for a company's debt or legal obligations. So that means when a company comes into bankruptcy or something, the owner does not have to face with that problem, but rather they have to face with the the company's access and the business access must face with that. That is not the owner's responsibility. But in some cases where the owner is suffering fraud or negligence to the business, LLC does not protect the owner from it. But if you do not take LLC, that means your company will focus on the thing called sole proprietorship, which means in that case, if there's any liability, if there's any losses, if there's any bankruptcy, you, the owner, must be responsible for that. And so this is a key consideration that you could take when you think about having a partner and adopting a partner in your business. So here, it's pretty simple, right? Today we talk about what is partnership, the benefits and the drawbacks, and one smart way to reduce the drawbacks of shared liability for litigation, which is LLC, Limited Liability Corporation. Thank you for listening and goodbye.